Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this public information session for Reworld Union LLC, formerly Covanta Union, Inc., related to their Title V operating permit renewal. My name is Lee Hoffman. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Pullman and Comley, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to this public information session. If we could go to the next slide, we will go over the ground rules that we will have for this public information session. So as you can see, we've got a few ground rules here to make sure that everyone has a chance to be heard and that we can have a productive meeting. So first and foremost, this meeting is being recorded. It will be shared with the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, and it becomes part of the official record related to the facility's permit renewal. At the beginning of the meeting, everyone will be muted, and Reworld will make a brief presentation about the facility in Union, as well as its Title V air permit renewal application. As I said, all the participants will be muted, but you will be able to submit questions via the question and answer feature of the webinar or by raising your hand. We will call on commenters. If you wish to speak, you can either just say, I wish to speak in the Q&A feature or raise your hand, and we will call on you in the order that we see your either questions in the Q&A or your hand go up. Just so that we can fully and fairly answer your questions, most importantly, fully, the likelihood is that questions will not be answered tonight by the Covanta personnel. Rather, in order to provide a full response, those answers will be provided to both the New Jersey DEP as well as put on the Covanta facility website for the Union facility. Speakers' mics will be muted for the duration of the program, unmuted only when they're asking the question or making their comment, and you should feel free to make comments. At the conclusion of the designated time allotment, which will be 3 minutes, your microphone will again be remuted. I will give you a 1-minute warning and a 30-second warning so that you know when your time is drawing to an end. If there's more comments that you wish to provide, you may feel free to do so, either by going to the back of the queue so that we give everyone a chance, but we'll allow people to talk again and give additional comments. Or if you prefer, you can provide written comments. The address is right there. The comments will be accepted from now until March 13th, 2025. They can be sent to the Reworld Union, New Jersey facility at 1499 US Route 1 and 9 North, Rahway, New Jersey, 07065. That's the Reworld Union NJ LLC facility, 1499 US Route 1 and 9 North, Rahway, New Jersey, 07065. You do have a 3-minute limit on your time, and your time may not be shared with or relinquished to others. As I said before, if you need more time to give your full comments or ask all of your questions, you can do so. It'll just be in 3-minute increments so that everybody gets a turn and a chance to ask their questions. Video screen sharing by the commenters will not be permitted. Only spoken comments and written comments that are submitted to the facility will be allowed. If in the unlikely event that someone makes inappropriate or threatening commentary, we will issue a warning. If the behavior continues, we reserve the right to disconnect that commenter from the webinar. And finally, all comments and questions regarding this meeting and all of Reworld's responses will be documented in the response to comments document that is submitted to the New Jersey DEP after the hearing. The document will be posted on the New Jersey DEP's Environmental Justice website, and it will also be posted on Reworld's website for the Union facility. If you go to reworldwaste.com, that's reworldwaste.com, and you click on the Where We Are tab at the top of the screen, you'll be taken to a map. If you click on the blue highlighted marker for Union in North Rahway, New Jersey, You will see that on that page, there's a list of resources that includes the Title V permit renewal application, the public notice for this information session, and some other documents. When the responses for this meeting are fully developed, they will be put on that website as well as on the New Jersey DEP website and the environmental justice piece, as mentioned before. So next, turning to the agenda, the next slide should have the agenda. I will turn it over to Reworld Union Facility personnel. They will be talking about the rebranding from Covanta to Reworld, as well as the purpose of this information session and how it fits into the permitting process. They will be discussing the Reworld Union Facility, the Union County Resource Recovery process, Reworld's role in sustainable materials management. Then they'll be discussing the facility's emissions, the community outreach that has been done to date by Reworld, and then we will have the opportunity for the public to ask their questions and provide comments. And so with that, I would like to turn it over to Reworld to begin their presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. Good evening, everybody. My name is Jack Bernardino, and I'm the director for Reworld New Jersey. And I'd like to thank everyone for coming and attending our session and taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us this evening. So Lee had went over the agenda. I just wanted to kind of do a quick introduction of the folks that will be speaking tonight. So I'll be talking about the rebranding session and the purpose of the information session. Jean Marion, our facility manager, will be going through the Union Facility resource recovery process. Patricia Earls will talk about the role in sustainable materials management. Patricia is our environmental manager for New Jersey. Leah Riley will be going through our emissions performance, and Leah is the environmental manager for Union. Aja Alexander will be going over our community outreach and all the good things we've been doing in the community. Aja is our community outreach specialist, and as Lee had mentioned, the public comments will be managed by both Lee and Andrew Geiswhite. All right, next slide, please. Okay, so briefly, our rebranding to Reworld happened in August 2024. So Covanta had changed our name to Reworld. And really, it's a declaration to make a significant sustainable impact on a global scale on that change to the name Reworld. So accordingly, the entity name for the permit went from Covanta Union into Reworld Union LLC. So note that the change in name was for name only. There was no change in corporate structure or leadership or EIN number at that point, just a strict name change. Next slide, please. So for tonight's information session, it is regarding our facility located in Rahway, New Jersey, in Union County. So Reworld Union is a permitted solid waste facility. We manage municipal solid waste, we recover metal, and we produce renewable electricity. So our facility is seeking to renew its 5-year Title V operating air permit. We submitted our renewal application to New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection on February 13th, 2018. And NJDEP had determined that it was administratively complete on March 1st, 2018. Just please note that this application is a straight renewal application. There are no proposed changes to the operation of the facility. NJDEP is completing a thorough technical review at this point and will consider comments from the public for this renewal as required by AO 2021-25. Next slide, please. So Administrative Order 2021-25 was signed by Commissioner Lauderette in September of 2021, and it outlined the expectations for applications that were expected to be subject to Environmental Justice Act. That act became effective in April 17th, 2023. So this hearing is being held pursuant to Administrative Order 2021-25 because the application was deemed administratively complete prior to the adoption of the EHA rules. Next slide, please. And I just want to reemphasize, I know Lee had talked about these addresses, but I just want to go through this again and say that the application itself and existing permits can all be seen at this website address of www.reworldwaste.com, where we are /facility/union. As Lee mentioned, you'll see a map and you can drill down into the union facility as well as all our other facilities as well. Comments are due March 13th, 2025, and you could submit your comments via that website here, Reworld Union Facility at reworldwaste.com, or you can mail them over to the address here, Reworld Union, New Jersey, LLC, at our Route 1 and 9 North address. Attention, Liz Merlucci. And with that, I will pass that on to Jean Marion.
My name is Gene Marion. I'm the facility manager here at the Union facility in Rahway, New Jersey. The Union County Resource Recovery Facility is a state-of-the-art facility. We serve over 21 municipalities in Union County, and we're located in Rahway, New Jersey. The facility is owned by Union County Utility Authority and operated by Reworld. In 2024, Reworld processed over 556,000 tons of municipal solid waste, diverting it from landfills. We go to the next slide. The facility is just over 30 years in operations, starting up in 1994. Technology that we use at this facility is a grate-based technology, Martin Stoker type technology. We have 3 boilers here on site, and we process about 1,540 tons per day. The majority of municipal solid waste from Union County and the surrounding areas is treated here at the facility. Here at the facility, we've got a 44 megawatt generator. We produce enough energy that's sold to the merchant power market to power around 30,000 homes and businesses. Here at the facility on an annual basis, we're able to recover about 15,000 tons of ferrous metal and about 1,400 tons of non-ferrous metal every year. We have 61 full-time employees, with a lot of them from the local area. We operate 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, receiving municipal solid waste on 6 days of the week, Monday through Saturday. We're proud that we're the recipient of the OSHA Voluntary Protection Program Star Site. It's the highest recognition by OSHA. We go to the next slide. We go through a quick overview of a thermomechanical treatment facility, or the process here on site. Waste will arrive here on site and be weighed on scales coming in, with the empty truck being weighed as it leaves. We receive it, we store it on site, and then it's fed into the boilers where the heat is used to produce steam that drives the turbine generator, producing the energy. The steam that we use to drive that turbine is then condensed, and we reuse it again. The process, the ash that comes out of the process, ferrous and non-ferrous metals are recovered from this waste ash for recycling through an automated recovery system. Through the system, the combustion air is treated, filtered with continuous emission monitoring prior to it being discharged. So that's a quick overview of the facility. I'm going to pass it on to Trish Earls now.
All right. Thank you, Lee. Good evening, everyone. Next slide here is just talking about the annual facility performance of the Union facility. This is based on 2023 data. We're still gathering some of the 2024 data together. We basically processed about 560,000 tons of MSW, which was waste that's diverted from the landfill. which from a size perspective is enough to fill 1.2 Madison Square Garden arenas, so a lot of trash. We recovered about 298,000 megawatt hours of electricity that we exported to the grid, which is enough to power 28,000 homes for 1 year, or charge 69,000 electric vehicles for a year. We also recover metal at the facility, and we recycled 15,300 tons of ferrous metal and 1,400 tons of non-ferrous metals, which would be equivalent to 13,000 cars recovered from the steel that we recover, or 98 million aluminum cans. Again, just to give you an idea of the size, 24 paperclip chains around the Earth. And the energy savings from avoiding the mining of 4 million tons of, metal mining would be equal to 4 million tons, 4 million gallons of gasoline. Sorry about that. So again, with all these benefits, we are able to avoid greenhouse gases, and we avoid 2.4 tons of net CO2 equivalents for every ton of waste that we process that's diverted from the landfill, and which is equal to 1.2 million metric tons of greenhouse gases avoided. Again, that's equivalent to removing 295,000 vehicles from the roads, or 1.48 billion pounds of coal. Again, the greenhouse gas benefits are represented in CO2 equivalents using the global warming potentials to compare the warming power of different gases. So in this analysis, we used the 20-year global warming potential for methane of 81 from the IPCC's sixth assessment report. So it's globally accepted data. TTFs in the US reduce life cycle emissions by an average of 2.4 tons of CO2 equivalent per ton of MSW that is diverted from the landfill. So the data presented here reflects facility-specific operating data and the local electric grid, which can differ from the national average. Next slide. So just to kind of give you an idea, again, I'm sure a lot of you have heard this, the world basically has an accepted method of sustainable materials management, and has these inverted triangles going from the best method to the least desired method. So the EPA, the European Union, and the United Nations have ranked the most environmentally sound strategies for municipal solid waste. So again, source reduction, including reuse, is the most preferred method, not creating the garbage in the first place, followed by recycling and composting, and then energy recovery, which is what we do, and lastly, treatment and disposal, which is landfilling. Next slide. Just waiting for the next slide. Andy, we got... Okay, here we go. So just to give you a little more idea how waste is managed around the world. So in the US, we obviously landfill the majority of our waste, 64%. We recycle and compost about 27%, which leaves a lot of room for improvement. And then we thermomechanical treatment, or energy from waste, as it's been called, is about 9%. The European Union on average, recycles about 49%, so a much better rate of recycling and composting. They 24% is landfilling and 27% is TTF facilities. Just to give you an idea of some of the more sustainable countries in Europe, Denmark and Germany, Denmark sends over half their waste to thermomechanical treatment facilities. They recycle 45% and only 1% to landfilling. Germany, similarly, 31% TTF, 68% recycling and composting, so very good at that, and 1% landfilling. Again, obviously, the countries with the more land tend to go to landfilling, but again, it creates a lot of global warming source. Next slide. We can move on to the next slide. There we go. So just to give you an idea, so again, the bottom two choices on the triangles were, after you've recycled and compost is landfilling or thermomechanical treatment. So just to give you a side-by-side comparison. So again, landfills are a major source of man-made methane. Methane is more than 80 times more potent than carbon dioxide over a 20-year period. Landfills do create leachate as the waste decomposes in the, anaerobically. It creates that liquid. And if the landfill is not sealed properly, it can lead to groundwater contamination. It's often a non-sustainable use of land. And the landfills that do capture the landfill gas to generate electricity can generate about 65 kilowatt hours per ton of waste. If you look at TTF facilities, after the waste is processed, it's a 90% reduction of waste in volume. We provide a clean baseload power generation. We are generating electricity 24/7. We recover the metals in the trash for recycling. And then based on the offsets from avoiding landfills, recovering metal, and generating electricity, we can offset an average of 2.4 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent for each ton of waste that we process. And as far as the energy generation, it is renewable energy generation of 550 kilowatt hours per ton of waste on average. And I believe with that, I'm going to hand it to Leah Riley to go over the emissions information.
Hi, as Trish mentioned, my name is Leah Riley. I am the environmental manager at the Reworld Union facility in Rahway, New Jersey. Just going to go over a little bit of the emissions performance of the facility. This particular slide shows how the facility compares against federal standards. This is from a 2021 to 2023 average. As you see, the facility is up to 99% below the federal standards on average, SO2 being 85% and NOx being 32%. With the continuous emissions monitors at the facility, which we monitor SO2, NOx, CO, and opacity with, we are 99.97% compliant with those standards. Next slide, please. This is how the Union Thermomechanical Treatment Facility compares against other sources in the county. As you see, the Union TTF, the 2023 numbers are 9% of the source of NOx, with on-road vehicles at 28% being the highest. For PM 2.5, the Union facility is 1% of the sources, and commercial cooking actually is the highest at 35% for PM 2.5. For PM 10, the Union TTF accounts for 0.5%. That's 0.5% of the source, while paved road dust accounts for 29% of PM 10. The Union TTF for VOCs is 0.01%. For VOCs, and solvent use is the highest at 41%. Once again, these numbers are based on the 2020 US EPA values. That's what's most readily available. And the facility numbers are 2023 are the most recently reported ones. Next slide, please. This is just to make you aware that if you go to that link, the reworldwaste.com, where we are at Union facilities, that we have a daily update for CO, SO2, NOx, and opacity. They will tell you the highest level recorded at the facility over a 4-hour block, 24-hour average, as well as a 6-minute average for opacity. These are against federal standards, EPA standards. So this is updated daily for the Union facility as well as the other TTF facilities. So if you use the link here, the same link that you would use to view the permit document, you'll be able to see this on a daily basis. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Aja Alexander for our community relations portion.
Good afternoon, everyone. Like Leah said, my name is Aja Alexander, and I do the community portion. So first and foremost, community outreach is more than just reaching out to the community. It's building connections. It's making sure that everyone feels seen and heard. It's also being a good neighbor, first and foremost. So our community outreach and environmental justice policy states that Reworld is committed to engage with and support the communities in which we have or will have facilities. We believe in the meaningful opportunity for all people, regardless of race, ethnicity, color, income, national origin, or education level, to be knowledgeable about and have the right to participate in public decisions and actions which have an impact on their environment and neighbors. So simply put, we're committed to having open two-way communication with communities on issues which may interest of or concern to them, or having an enhanced public participation strategy with communities on major facility permit actions, and engage with substantive conversations with community members during early stages of permitting process. So I'll go to the next slide, please. So simply put, Reworld in the community, I would say we're just a good neighbor, honestly. We're always steadfast in the community. So simply put, here are some organizations that we work with. So we work with the Aurora Community Action Organization, in which we've established a monthly volunteer effort. So every month we go out and help their weekly pantry. So that includes handing food out to people who are simply in need. So these people come from not just only Rahway, but the entire Union County. So that includes Carteret, Elizabeth, Union Township as well. So they come out, they receive some food, and we also help them with their Thanksgiving drives. We even help pack and distribute those items such. We also are board members of the Union County Performing Arts Center, which is located right in Rahway on Irving Street. So they do a lot of work in the community as well. So it's good to sit on their meetings. We also work with Groundworks in Elizabeth. We're also members of the Greater Elizabeth Chamber of Commerce. We also donate to the Josephine's Place as well as Iris House, which is they have also a clothing and food pantry there as well. And the work they do is dedicated to helping women with HIV. So a lot of people come in. There is a general need for clothes, so we love donating there as well. We also are a big contributor to the Pollinator Garden in the New Jersey Audubon Society. So our Pollinator Garden is located right in our, so to speak, backyard. So we kind of help with that and work with the planning, which is also pictured at the top left. We also hold monthly coalition meetings. So these meetings are with prominent leaders in Rahway. So we kind of discuss ways that we can help better the community, such as those in educational, volunteerism, any community events. It's kind of like a general board meeting to kind of discuss what's going on in the community and also invite them to events that they love attending. We also work with the Rahway NAACP as well as the Rahway Social Justice Commission as well. We also are proud sponsors of the I Love to Read organization as well. So that organization is amazing. Carla, she works a lot with the community with giving out free books, which I have taken a few cooking books. We also work with Fresh Start Second Chances. So this past before the school year began, we also donated a bunch of feminine hygiene products to young girls in middle school who are kind of entering womanhood. So it's good to have them, have them put together and have them prepared for the beginning of the school year. We also work with the Union County Urban League. We also work with the Union County Fatherhood Initiative Coalition, as well as the Rahway Community Garden, which we work very closely with Councilman David Brown. We've also worked the Union County Greater Way of Union County, as well as Rahway Teen Works for the city of Rahway. So me, myself, and I'm from Rahway, so I live and breathe Rahway 07065 all the way. So I also was one of the first cohorts to ever do the Rahway Teen Works program. So basically it's a student employee. They're also employed by the city of Rahway as well. So they have that really good opportunity to work with the Parks and Recreation Center underneath the Rahway Rec Center. And it was a really good program. It was actually my first job ever in life. So just to see that program go, and also they come to our facility every summer is a good kind of give back kind of thing. And then we also work with the Robert Wood Johnson Hospital, which we do frequent stuff such as the breast cancer walk awareness, as well as Women's History Month as well. So simply put, we're in the community, whether we're serving food with hair nets and gloves, whether we're handing out turkeys, whether we're packaging food for United Greater Way of Union County, whether we're just being a helping hand. I think Rahway is a great city for community development, and that's what Reworld it basically is centered on. We're helping the community draw different ideas together, see where we can kind of best fit in, and just do the work to help those in need. And now I'll turn it over to Lee to pretty much sum up everything. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. So at this stage of the game, we'll ask for people who wish to give a comment or ask questions to either raise your hand. There's a hand raising button, and or if you prefer, you could type something into the Q&A. As we're waiting for people to do that, I would remind everyone that all of the materials that were discussed here tonight and the Title V permit renewal application is at the website right there on your screen. If you go to reworldwaste.com and you click on the Where We Are tab at the top of the page, look at the facilities, and when you click on Union on the map, you will see those materials show up on your screen. If you wish to submit additional written comments, they are due by March 15th. You can send them via electronic mail to Reworld Union Facility at reworldwaste.com, or if you prefer, you can send them to the facility directly. That address is on your screen: Reworld Union LLC, 1499 US Route 1 and 9 North, Rahway, New Jersey, 07065. Attention, Liz Merlucci. And with that, we're going to begin with the comments. Just as a reminder, you have 3 minutes to provide comments. I will give you warnings at 1 minute and 30 seconds. I'll try to do so discreetly. But after that time, your microphone will be muted and you will be asked to go back into the queue. If you have more comments at the end of your 3 minutes, we're happy to hear from you, but we do want to make sure that everybody gets a chance. So with that, the first person that I saw whose hand was raised was Lori Cogman. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that name, but I'd ask that we unmute Ms. Cogman's mic and camera and allow her to speak. Thank you.
Hey, Lee. Lori, you should be able to speak now or unmute yourself.
Ms. Cogman, can you unmute your microphone?
I'm unmuted now. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Sorry,
Thank you.
guys. Lori Kaufman, Esquire, president of the NAACP Rawway branch. Thank you for allowing us to hear your presentation. The branch has opposed the incinerator since its inception. We're greatly concerned about the amount of pollution that can be spewed into the air, as we're an overburdened community here in the city of Rawway, and we are having an increase in the number of people that are coming down with cancer in the area, including my own mother and my next door neighbor who died within weeks of each other about 5 years ago. The branch will be formally sending a comment to further our concerns, but we wanted to be heard tonight that we are concerned. It is our understanding that you will are not adding to the permit, but we would like to see your numbers reduced so that we can protect our health. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I see that Charlie Critoville, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that name, but Charlie Critoville is next with their hand up. Can we unmute that individual?
Yeah, Charlie, you should be able to speak now. Or unmute your mic, rather. Charlie? You have to unmute your mic.
Okay, so Charlie, can you unmute your mic, please? Okay, Charlie, we are not hearing you, so I will come back to you. But in the meantime, Brooke Helmick has her hand up. So if we could unmute Brooke Helmick's mic, and we can come back to Charlie at a later date.
Yes, Brooke, you should be able to unmute your mic now.
Good evening. Are you able to hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. Please proceed.
I think you remuted your mic.
Apologies. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Fantastic. Thank you. Good evening. I just appreciate the slides and the information that was shared during this presentation. My name is Brooke Helmick, and I am the Director of Policy with the New Jersey Environmental Justice Alliance. A bit of background on our organization. We are a 22-year-old organization and the first and still only statewide org in New Jersey dedicated to environmental justice. We have partners across the state and have spent time working with environmental justice communities to share knowledge, to hear their stories, experiences, and to learn from them as well.
Can you hear this?
Yes, thank you. I first want to take a moment to underscore the importance of what Ms. Lori Kaufman has said. According to the DEP EJ map, the area surrounding this facility is an overburdened community where the facility is located in an area that is adverse for 22 out of the 26 possible stressors that the DEP measures. The community faces nearly 8 times the ground level ozone pollution, nearly 2 times the particulate matter 2.5 pollution, and is home to 4 times the number of permitted air sites as the rest of the state. And that is incredibly important to note because it demonstrates the amount of air pollution that is happening in the area and the amount of health conditions and health implications that this community faces. And I must admit that I am deeply disconcerted by the slides that showed Reworld's emissions as compared to other sources. I feel that this slide attempts to pivot the perspective and to lead us to believe that there's not an ongoing responsibility to decrease emissions, both greenhouse gases and co-pollutant emissions. And to this end, I would point to the framework of cumulative impacts. As we know, it is not just the single source of air pollution, but the aggregation and accumulation of pollution in the area that contributes to negative health outcomes. The importance of addressing cumulative impacts was highlighted in the 2020 environmental justice law, as I'm sure we all know. And the notice of intent statement says that Reworld is committed to environmental justice and to continual improvement. However, as far as we know, there are no proposed changes that would reduce emissions and therefore the impacts on the surrounding community. Not only is this detrimental to levels of local air pollution, but it does not show that Reworld is being, as you claim, a good neighbor. Additionally, we have significant
Ms.
concerns
Helmick,
with regards.
you-
Yes,
You have 1 minute.
thank you. Additionally, we have significant concerns with regards to testing, particularly for particulate matter and NOx, and we believe that Reworld can and must do better by implementing continuous emissions monitoring and making the entirety of that data public. This can and should include particulate matter, NOx, PCBs, PFAs, and polycyclic organic matter. And thank you again, and my gratitude to all of the community members who came to this hearing to participate in this process.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Much appreciated. I see that Charlie Critoville's hand is back up. Hopefully this time we can unmute Charlie and get Charlie to speak.
Yes, Charlie, you should be able to unmute yourself now.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, terrific. Can I go on camera or no?
Yes. You should be able to go on camera.
There we go. Okay. Good evening. Charlie Cradaville. I live in New Brunswick. Central Jersey organizer here at Food and Water Watch. We have an office in New Brunswick, and I'm speaking to you today on behalf of our 70,000 members around the state. Incinerators are often touted as clean, but they come with high levels of air pollution, and they're placed mostly in communities of color or economically disadvantaged communities. And so, like other dirty energy, they're not only unsustainable, but they are environmental justice disasters. And I have some further comments and questions. First of all, it's a major source of air pollution in an area where there's already many other sources of air pollution. The environmental justice law that was referenced before was meant to wake us all the heck up and start taking into account cumulative impacts from air pollution. You know, a requirement of that law was that applicants for permits like these would have to prepare and share an environmental justice impact statement, an EJIS. I wanted to ask if one was prepared for this.
Keep going with your comments, sir. Those
Okay.
questions will be answered in one response document to the New Jersey DEP.
Okay, well, it's unfortunate that I'll have to wait to get that answer, but I suspect one was not done, and I think that is a mistake. An environmental justice impact statement would give the public critical information about the impact of this facility. I know that that environmental justice law was signed in September of 2020. We are here now in the year 2025, not following or honoring that law. Why is that? If it was deemed administratively complete before April 2023, why did it take almost 2 years to get to the date of this hearing? I also want to know, why couldn't an in-person hearing be held in the city of Rahway? Why are we doing an online only hearing for this? Is it because of the COVID-19 clause that's in the administrative order? Because that is also 4 years old now. And I don't understand why we're not yet applying the EJ law to major sources of pollution like this project. I understand the comments about the timeline and being administratively complete, but when are we going to wake up and get with the program? Rahway deserves so much better than this. I know I have many friends in that community, and the community is overwhelmingly against the facility. So I don't think that it makes sense to renew the permit at this time. I welcome the answers to my questions. If you can give them now, I'd appreciate it. But I will most certainly follow up on behalf of our organization, and want to just take a moment to thank the other two speakers for their excellent comments and their vigilance and advocacy. We all deserve a lot better than this. That's all for me.
Thank you for your comments, sir. Danny Cooper, your hand is raised. Can we unmute Mr. Cooper? Okay, Mr. Cooper, it appears that you can unmute yourself.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
sir, we can.
Yeah. So, hi, my name's Danny Cooper. I'm a litigation assistant with Earth Justice. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I first and foremost want to uplift the testimony of community members who've already spoke or who will speak tonight. On its website, Reworld touts itself as, quote, one of the first companies to support the landmark environmental justice legislation in New Jersey, which aims to address the cumulative environmental impacts in overburdened areas, end of quote. This legislation is the precise reason for this permit hearing, and it has a clear directive that permits in overburdened communities must become more protective, not less. As defined by this new law, the Reworld Union incinerator is located within a disproportionately burdened community. The incinerator is a major contributor to this burden. From 2015 to 2018, the facility was the third highest emitter of the toxic chemicals chromium, hydrogen chloride, and PCBs, and the fifth highest emitter of NOx out of all industrial facilities in New Jersey. Given the cumulative burdens the Rahway community faces, this permit must include additional conditions to address these impacts. Instead, the permit application boldly asks for more lenient testing requirements for particulate matter. It's hard to justify this revision considering particulate matter emissions at the incinerator have increased every year from 2020 to 2023, and considering the health impacts of these emissions. PM 2.5 exposure is associated with lung disease, asthma attacks, and acute bronchitis in the short term, and reduced lung function, chronic bronchitis, and even premature death in the long term. This request goes against the express purpose of the legislation Reworld claims to proudly support. Reworld must do better. Instead of less frequent testing, Reworld should implement continuous emissions monitoring for all of the pollutants it emits. This is especially important for dangerous pollutants like PFAS, considering in 2020, the EPA came close to using the Rahway incinerator as a test site to intentionally burn PFAS with no regard to the health impacts on the surrounding community. Reworld must also take steps to lessen their emissions, like replacing its selective non-catalytic reduction system with a selective catalytic reduction system, which can help significantly reduce NOx emissions and is already employed by many other facilities, including other incinerators. The
1 minute,
incinerator,
Cooper.
thank you. The incinerator must also propose measures to reduce its emissions of dangerous hazardous air pollutants, which pose a variety of cancer and non-cancer health risk, and which the incinerator has the potential to emit 227 tons per year under the current permit. These potential emissions limits are higher than DEP thresholds for 7 HAPs, in multiple cases more than 10 times the threshold, and in the case of hydrogen chloride, 43 times the threshold. Further, Reworld should remove from its permit the startup, shutdown, and malfunction exemptions to the emissions limits. EPA has been moving to eliminate these unlawful provisions because the DC Circuit has held that these exceptions violate the Clean Air Act. And thank you again for the opportunity to speak. I implore Reworld to take this opportunity to live up to their word, listen to the community, and make these vital changes.
Thank you, sir. With Mr. Cooper having completed his comments, I do not see anyone with their hand raised. And
As well as the Q&A, there are currently no questions being fielded in there.
Correct, and I was about to say that, and there's nothing in the Q&A. So I would ask if there's anybody else who wishes to speak, that they either raise their hand. It's in the upper middle towards the right side, or click on the Q&A to ask to be admitted to provide comment. So while we wait to see if anybody else wishes to provide comments, I will remind you once again, feel free to tell your neighbors and colleagues about the comment period that is between now and March 13th, 2025. You can find the materials related to the Title V permit renewal application at reworldwaste.com, clicking on the Where We Are tab, and then selecting the Union facility. If you wish to ask additional questions or provide additional comments, you may do so in writing. You have until March 13th to do that. You may do that via electronic mail at Reworld Union Facility at reworldwaste.com. You can see the address there at the bottom of your screen. Or if you prefer, you can send a letter through the Postal Service to Reworld Union NJ LLC at 1499 US Route 1 and 9 North, Rahway, New Jersey, 07065. Attention, Liz Merlucci. I see nothing in the Q&A portion or individuals who have raised their hand. And so with that, I want to thank our commenters for their thoughtful and insightful comments. Thank you to Reworld for putting together this presentation. And this will conclude our public information session for this evening. Thank you all very much for your attendance at this presentation.